This episode brought to you by Mechanix.
Coming up on the show, we are checking in on the leaderboards. We have an interview with Joe Sewick, and while he's here, Callum and him are going to go head-to-head and shoot out. It's going to be fun. All that and more is coming up right now. We're bucking around live on Twitch.
Welcome back to Buckin' Around, everybody. I'm Callum Fletcher, joined as always by Mike Colesworthy.
Hello, I'm over here now.
There you go, he's in the production blind. We have Jess Petro, our social media manager, in the chat.
Hello.
And we have an exclusive guest today, Joe Sewick, otherwise known as GrimJaw JackJaw, is joining us for some expert analysis and gameplay.
Hello, everybody.
Now, last time on Buckin' Around, it was a little bit different. We actually did a pre-recorded episode as everyone was out and about doing their own thing and taking care of some responsibilities. I think you were in California?
That's right, yeah. I was in San Francisco helping a couple friends get married in a windstorm.
Now, you say helping a couple friends getting married, as
Yeah.
in...
Officiating.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm
How
doing
was
another
it?
one this weekend, actually.
Where at?
St. Louis.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
You're going to be a busy man.
Busy, busy, busy. Yes.
Well, speaking of California and weddings,
yes.
David Gonzalez is actually out with Jesse Gilmeister in California. And
That's
I
right.
think we have a pretty good idea of how their wedding's going. Why don't we bring up that wedding's going? What am I saying? I think we have a good idea of how their vacation's going. Why don't we bring up that picture? That's right. Jesse and
spoiled it.
David. I know, yeah, I kind of threw it with that wedding line. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
Jesse and David are actually engaged. They got engaged in San Francisco this last week. So from everyone here at Play Mechanix, Jesse and David, congratulations. We are so happy for you, and we can't wait for you to come back and get back to work.
That's
Hearty
right.
Salute to them.
Good
So-
job, kids.
Cheers, Jesse and David.
Cheers.
Now, we've got a pretty jam-packed episode. We've got some big things to talk about in segment 1, which is our qualifier check-in. So, Mike, why don't you take us through the numbers?
Yes. Last week we came to you with a nice even 1,800 individual hunters all over the planet who want in on that World Championship dough. This week, I'm excited to announce we have passed the 2,000 mark. We are actually sitting at 2,030 individual hunters, if you can believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Crazy.
That's excellent
Round of
news.
applause, everybody. Just great job. Great job.
Now, while we're talking about those 2,030 players, who's in the front of the pack in the U.S.? Let's jump on over to those leaderboards.
Yeah. Let's take a look here at our main leaderboard for America, skill-based players. Callum, are you a betting man?
I am, but you know what? I think the odds are pretty stacked in one man's favor, so I'm
Yeah.
going to guess Ryan Hodgson.
Yeah, Ryan Hodgson holding it down at first place.
Of course.
He is unmovable.
It's, but there's a lot of players who aren't in yet. We've got Trevor Gartner.
Still don't know if he's going to show.
Yeah, that's true. He did just have the kid, so that's
Yep, he's lurking and cradling at the same time.
lurking and cradling.
Yes.
Okay, you heard it here first. Well, we have Derek Tower climbing up into that second place spot. Of course, Derek's one of our previous champions.
No
Yep.
surprises there.
Made a big move this week.
One thing I would like to say is a kind of a surprise to me is Matthew Garver taking a dip down. I know he's still in that the top 5, but
Yeah.
still, it's Matthew Garver. He's on his home turf. You'd think he'd really just be hammering out,
It's approaching the end of the month. We're about ready to launch into that third qualifier. Maybe he's just biding his time, resting up a little bit,
Yeah,
That's fair.
preparing for that next animal.
Whitetail deer is a tough one.
could be.
That does make sense.
It's an animal a lot of players have just kind of ducked out on, coasted through. They'll put up their plays if they need at the end of the tournament.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
That's,
So-
I like that. Now,
Wild card, shall we?
we shall.
Let's hop over and take a look here. Mike Forrest takes the first spot.
Now, yeah, that's fair. Good point. But I think there's 2 points we should really focus on right now. We've got the third row, or the third column is essentially full.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
full.
This has filled up in a major way over the past week.
We're getting more and more wild cards coming out. But even more so, number 11.
Yes.
Now, this is exciting. This is fun. He's actually been a competitor before at one of the previous World
Sure has.
Championships. Travis Pastrana and
Him
the,
and his whole crew.
and the
Travis.
Nitro Circus crew.
Is back.
And they are qualifying for the Austin World Championship. That is so cool.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see him if he can pull it off this year and him and his crew can roll in. Man, they're good at partying, I'll tell you that.
You know what? I think they're new to the leaderboard, but I don't think we're going to see them going anytime soon. I mean, they had 11th place when we made this graphic, and I believe since then he's already risen to 9th.
Yeah, that's true. Travis is, I think he's playing as we speak.
But not only is it just Travis, we have Comb Over Steve, I believe.
Yep, Steve St. Arnold is also known as Comb Over Steve, sitting in 21st spot there.
And Lindsay Pastrana, Travis's wife,
Yes.
is also qualifying in the ladies tournament. She's in a wild card. She's actually not on these boards. I think she's somewhere around the 60th place.
Yep.
But nonetheless,
Climbing up.
the Pastrana clan may or may not make an appearance at this year's World Championship.
Yeah, very exciting.
All right.
Is that going to give the snipers a run for their money?
Ooh,
The Scotty Snipers.
The Scotty Snipers and the Nitro Circus.
Oh, that's a showdown.
That's pretty cool.
I can feel it in my bones. All right. Moving on to the main leaderboard for Australia.
Yeah, Mike, why don't you start this one off for us?
Sure, we've got Glenn Rattray holding on to his first place spot. In fact, everybody, 1st through 7th place, have stayed locked since last week.
And what do you think, Joe?
I feel like they're just biding their time too. I mean, it's end of the month here.
You think everyone's
I
coasting
think they're
through to
just-
that number 3
They're
tourney?
waiting to see what happens on that next animal. When that releases, you're going to see some shifting.
Okay, now keep in mind we have 2 players already qualified from Australia, Mark Santander and Courtney McLaughlin. But there is 1 skill-based and 1 wild card left to come. So let's jump over to that wild card leaderboard.
Courtney's still up there on the main leaderboard anyway.
She's going
Yep.
for that money.
Yep.
Courtney knows. She,
Yeah,
she,
bonus money.
she knows she's one of the best. She's going for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, I had Mike lead us off on the last one. Joe, what do you think about the wild cards in Australia?
Wild cards in Australia, they're holding steady just like the main leaderboard.
Yeah,
Not a
first
lot of
to eight.
movement.
Yeah, I
Renee
mean,
Brooks has got a pretty staggering lead, so that might be pushing a few people, off that.
okay. Now, so we've got, as you said, no action in the top 8. I
Yep.
don't know if Canada looks the same. Why don't we send it on over
Yeah, let's find out.
to north of the border? And, of course, we've got the top 2, Drew Baldock and
Yeah.
Brennan Dogger-Walk. If I'm not mistaken, they're actually going to be coming down to the U.S. I'm hoping to see if we can get some matches in with the Canadian top 2.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, they're taking a road trip through.
Right, but other than them, we've actually got a lot of movement. I don't recognize many of these names in the top 8. Well, of course, I recognize Neil Davidson
Yeah.
and Old Treso.
Yeah,
We've been
old Treso.
commenting on him every week.
Yeah, I got to find out who this old Treso is. What is a Treso? And why
What
is
is
it
it?
old?
Yeah, and why is it old? But yeah, you know what? I've actually been talking with a couple of these guys. Tim Brader is a great guy who's been trying to organize some huge events up in Canada. So
That's great news.
all the more power to them. That's right. I'm excited to be working with these guys. Neil Davidson taking a little slip. I'm really hoping to see him climbing the ladder. But you know what? I'm not opposed to new faces at the World Championship.
Of course not.
We get them
Yeah.
every year. Love to expand that community.
I'll
Always
say, I
good
think
to
we had
see.
50% last year, brand
Yeah.
new players. That's incredible.
Cool.
But jumping to the ladies, where we've got more big news, right?
Oh yeah, this was late breaking news today, but Samantha Intrieri has done the unthinkable and told, hey, Melinda Van Humiston, hey, Lindsay Garver, Kylie Hodson, all of you, step aside.
Now, what I love
Meow Meow is here.
Meow Meow is here. What I really like about this is Lindsay was sitting in at first and Melinda was at second. So not only did Samantha come in, take second and first.
Yeah.
Well, not only did she come in and take second,
Yeah.
she took second and first. Sorry.
You can only sit in one position at a time. Yeah.
But yeah, we saw Kylie Hodson and Lindsay going down because of Samantha's triumphant return to the top.
Yeah. Very exciting stuff.
Other than that, you know, it's funny because out of the top 4, we really don't have anything till 10.
Yeah,
Everyone's sitting still.
Yeah.
But and then everyone from 10 down, constant movement.
Yeah, all the time, all the time. I see Christina Eddy hanging around toward the back of the pack there. I know that she mentioned on the Buck Hunters page that she got busy this week and couldn't keep up with the qualifier, but that she's looking forward to getting back into it.
You know what? While we're on the topic of the ladies qualifiers, Jubilee Saranillo started this, if I'm not mistaken, very dominantly at the top.
Yeah, yeah.
Consistently in the top.
Back when she was known as Jub Jub, maybe it gave her power.
Right, and maybe you think it's the name? Could be.
I don't know. I'll call her Jub Jub when I meet her in person.
But anyway.
Yeah, let's hop on over to ladies tourney wildcards.
All right, and this is, as always, has a full leaderboard. We've got no movement out of the top 3. Joe, do you see any names on this board that really just strike you as fierce competitors that you're hesitant about? Or that you would,
I'm hesitant about.
Sorry, that you would
I'm
be
not competing, so can't be real hesitant about that.
Yeah.
not even Tom Martin?
Tom Martin, no, I think he needs to slip off this board already.
What I don't understand,
Oh boy,
here's
Tom Martin.
what I don't
even
get
me
about
started on Tom Martin.
here's what I don't get about this guy. Everywhere on this board you have movement, except the top 3,
Yeah.
12, 19.
Yeah.
Like how?
Like
Everyone
I said
is
before,
moving.
It takes a little bit of upkeep and a lot of just serendipity.
With the ladies qualifier being only 1 trek long, it's a little bit tighter squeeze in there.
Yeah. And as I've said before, the fact that Tom Martin isn't dropping but staying still means that he's still playing.
Right. I was
Which
saying,
I cannot stand.
Do you think he knows about like how just much anxiety he's giving us
Sooner
for
or
this?
later, somebody is going to share our YouTube channel with Tom Martin. He's going to be like, "Oh,
Wow.
I've got some enemies."
Especially for getting him out of those top 22.
Yeah,
At the very least, let's get him out of the top 22.
Once he's out of a qualifying spot, it won't bother me so much. But as long as he's
There's
in that
still
qualifying,
some money spots that he's probably sitting in.
Right. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up the qualifiers. But we've got some new stuff that we're pretty excited to be able to announce.
Yes, indeed.
Launched this week, if I'm not mistaken. Joe, you pulled the trigger on that one.
That we did. A little bit of a surprise move. We didn't really put it out any fanfare on this one.
It was a surprise to me, but nonetheless.
Little spoiler, we work on things in the background that not everybody always knows about.
The Ranked Top 50, guys, has traditionally been a US-only leaderboard. Well, from now on, I'm pleased and excited to announce that it will now be a global leaderboard taking into account Canada and Australia.
Yeah.
Joe, why don't you walk everybody through what they can see, where they can see it, and what it means?
All right, so global leaderboard. It's probably been a long time coming. We probably should have done it a little bit sooner. What this means is that our ranked play game mode, when you play that, you're getting put into this leaderboard. Every play in ranked play over the past 12 weeks is going to contribute to your positioning. Tie breaks are going to be your accuracy, your bucks killed, your averages over those 12 weeks are going to help break those ties if there happens to be a tie for your rating value. Bringing this into a kind of global situation, we want to constantly be pushing towards a global big buck economy because it's not just a U.S. game. It's it's very much worldwide. We're trying to push our boundaries, push our barriers, and bring our family a little bit closer together.
Yeah.
And bringing things closer together, we see that there's a lot of Aussies on this leaderboard.
Yeah,
It's
let's
surprising.
take a look.
It's surprising. It's number one, Ryan Hodgson, of course, right? I mean, it's Ryan Hodgson. He's just about claimed every leaderboard we've come out with in the last few months.
This might actually start to give him a little bit more competition now that he's got to compete with, not only his fellow U.S. competitors.
I didn't think about that. That's very true.
On the leaderboard, which you can find at bigbuckhd.com/leaderboard, you might be seeing Ryan Hodgson keep his country rank at number 1, but he might slide off that global rank.
Now, you just brought up 2 ranks. So, if I'm not mistaken, the column all the way on the left is your
global rank.
Okay,
so that is your overall against everybody.
And then it's a flag, if I'm not mistaken?
Yep, so then it shows where you're from, a little bit of patriotism there, a little bit of national pride, and then it shows your country rank.
Okay.
So your country rank obviously is only against those in your country, and this is going to actually show a little arrow next to it as well. The arrow is only an indicator of where you've moved and what progress you've made within your own country.
Okay. So we saw Ryan Hodgson at the top, and you said he's going to have some more competition from everyone else.
Absolutely.
Now, this, I don't think, astounded just me. I'm sure it astounded you. We've got 2 Aussies in number 2 and number 3.
It was definitely a little bit of a surprise, not so much to see the names. The names are quite familiar to the big buck world, both Mark Santander and Baz Russell.
Yeah, I've been wondering where Baz was. Turns out he's been here the whole time.
We just haven't seen him.
Yep, just competing in a different way.
Yeah.
But and then okay, let's swing it back for a second and say this was a U.S. only leaderboard. Not only, I know we've got the Aussies in there, but CJE and RAR.
Yeah.
I think this is the furthest apart we've seen them.
That's true.
Ever.
Yeah, RAR must have not played much last week or something. Because Chris Eichmann and Brandon Crum. Yeah.
I love it. CJE staying consistent. He hasn't moved. Who just got the 2 Aussies slipping in front of him. Going out of the top 8, fills out with the rest of the U.S. players. And then we've got Mark Coxell in number 9, Mike Lewis in number 10. And then it kind of just dilutes. There's a lot more Aussies than I expected there to be in this board.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at, not 50%, but there's definitely a fair majority of Australian flags hanging out in this leaderboard.
Yeah, my favorite thing about this global top 50 is that it actually gives you kind of a snapshot of global big buck talent.
Yeah.
I think it was criminal, really, that we were only showing the United
US?
States before this. So it's really cool to see kind of not only where people fall as individuals, but where countries kind of line up
Okay.
in terms of skill level.
Yeah, you definitely see Canada right there in
Which-
the middle of the
Smack
top
in the middle of
50.
the board,
and
you
I,
got Drew
and I was
Baldock.
just going to say, I love the fact that we do at least have one Canadian on the chart. Now, keep in mind, we have Neil Davidson, who is the self-proclaimed Canada champion.
Yep.
And he's not even on the board. But
Yeah.
we've got Drew Baldock, who is sitting at #1 in the World Championship qualifiers for Canada.
And he's still got time for some rank play on the side.
And
Yeah.
he's still, there you go.
He's
Now,
truly cut from another cloth. I mean, Drew Baldock is bringing it.
he's putting up points. He's really,
for
he's
sure.
really going at it. But let's take a look at the chat. Jess, do we have any activity going on? Is anyone talking about the leaderboards?
Yeah, they're excited about it.
Awesome. I like to hear that. Now, Joe, while we've got you here, we've had you on before
A few times.
a few times. People seem to like you. We want to give everyone a better idea of who Joe Seawick is, his deep, dark secrets. Not actually his deep, dark secrets. I don't even want to know
We'll
those.
keep those dark. Keep those secret.
Keep those dark and keep them secret. But right now, let's just do a little bit of an interview if you're cool with that.
I suppose
And
so.
I guess the traditional question to start on is, who are you and what do you do?
Well, I am Joe. And,
Hi, Joe.
Hey.
my big buck handle is GrimJaw JackJaw. I've been using that forever, since I've been around here pretty much. So you can see me lurking on our Big Buck Facebook group, hitting up the game every once in a while. If you see GrimJaw, that's me.
With the ridiculous stats.
Yeah, yeah.
The seemingly rigged
Yeah,
stats.
it turns out there
Rigged,
are perks to
you know.
being a tester and a database guy.
Yeah, you know, there might be some data manipulation going on there, but you got to test those upper limits. What can I say? If you see a score roll over into the negatives,
Yeah.
it's a problem.
At least we're not seeing you on the global ranked leaderboards. Then I'd have to really ask you some questions.
Yeah, I don't play quite enough to put my face up there, but
And so how long have you worked at Play Mechanix?
I have been at Play Mechanix for 9 years now.
9 years?
Yep, going on 9 years, heading into that decade mark. Started out as just a lowly tester.
A lowly tester.
Lowly tester.
What are you trying to say about our current testers?
They're pretty darn skilled.
They are.
I-
They are actually incredibly
Our
good.
games would not be as great as they are without them.
Yeah. And speaking of
Salute to them.
cheers to them. Speaking of Play Mechanix, just what, from your perspective, how has Play Mechanix kind of changed since you started? How's it evolved, I guess?
It's evolved quite a bit since I've started. There's been, just several office remodels. There's been a lot more new faces. We've grown and expanded, taken over a couple little extra offices next door, knocked down walls. When I started here, the test department was actually situated in a hallway, if you could believe that. So thankfully that's no longer the case, because we have too many cabinets and they are far too large to fit in a hallway without violating fire codes.
Yeah.
Fire codes. Chump stuff.
Indeed.
So as we all know, or at least we know around here, your involvement in the World Championship is very important. Can you talk a little bit about what you do in regards to that event specifically?
Sure. Well, just in general, my position here is officially Quality Assurance Manager and Web Admin. But my day-to-day tasks pretty much go well beyond that. I'm a man of many hats around here. A lot of my work ends up on the database side of things. So when it comes to the World Championship, and the qualifiers in particular, we're talking about setting up those tournaments, picking out the sites, setting the format, kind of pushing the envelope on how we do things around here as far as the qualifiers go. We've definitely had several evolutions in that regard. I think the new format is working great. I think the players enjoy it. It certainly shows from our play numbers at the very least. So then beyond that, when it comes to the actual event, you may have seen me a few times up on stage acting as kind of a pit boss, game warden, trying to direct the flow of the tournament, keep things running smoothly, and God forbid anything goes wrong, and sadly they tend to do so during the ladies tournament.
I was going to say Murphy's Law, right?
Yeah,
What can't go wrong will.
Every time, seems like there's some little hiccup, connectivity issues, but we get them sorted out in due process, and I basically try to keep everything running smoothly behind the scenes in all regards. So.
Okay. And so players this year at the World Championship will find you on stage?
That's
Or
yet
walking
to be
around,
seen.
yeah, maybe.
We're always changing things up, so we shall see where I am situated in Austin.
Okay, so with your involvement in the World Championship, we've talked about the evolution of play mechanics itself. How has the World Championship evolved from year 1 to, let's say, year 4, and then to
Year
now?
4. Well, I think the original tournament was a little small scale. You know, it was kind of dipping our feet in the water, seeing if people were actually interested in that kind of thing. We knew we had a pretty solid community. We were running monthly tournaments, you know, national wide, that we were picking up enough traction to, you know, invite some people out, have an actual event, you know, small scale at that point, maybe 16 players at most.
Also tiny.
Very tiny World Championship. Not quite world at that point. It was really more of a national championship.
But before you get in, I don't mean to cut you
Sure.
off, but so as you said, we created the World Championship in just kind of let's see if people are interested. What were your thoughts after the first World Championship? Like when it went well and when you had all these players come out and show their love for Big Buck, what was going through your head when you're like, oh, wow, this is actually legitimate, like this is a real deal?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely took off. It's, you know, obviously great for our business, for selling Big Buck units.
Sure.
And just for giving the players a great product. You know, it really helped at that point that we had kind of 2 new games in the works. You know, we had Big Buck Safari and then an update for the original Pro open season. So we added more animals, more bonus games, more game modes. You know, we kept making the game bigger, better. We added trophy animals with Safari, changing the way the game's played. And you see a lot of that carry over into the current HD with trophies. And the original Pro, you would have anywhere from, you know, a couple critters up to like 7 or 8, depending on the site. So there was a lot more fluctuation there, where now we're kind of locked in with the Safari style, which had 5 per site. Now we're
Sure.
at, you know, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So just expanding on the World Championship and where we went, since we had 2 Big Buck games at the time, we expanded into, you know, a World Championship for Pro and a World Championship for Safari. So you had these 2 games and 2 competitions going on at the same time.
Which
That was intense.
I was going to say, that sounds...
I remember it well.
So
Yeah,
that
it was crazy.
I'll say, so you must have started around that time when we were
Yeah,
running
I've
the
been
2
here for
tourneys.
all of the World Championships as well, and I mean, to Joe's point, it really does continue to grow. We add new features, and they get kind of folded into all of the sort of mythos that is the World Championship. So yeah, I mean, Joe's absolutely right about that. I got to ask you, Joe. Speaking about this year's World Championship, what are you most looking forward to?
It's hard to say that it's not the party, but you know, we're there to work
But it's the party.
at the same time. But yeah, I'm just always happy to see the players happy. You know, seeing your work and your endeavor, and seeing what it means to all these players from around the world, seeing the impact it makes on their lives, and you know, seeing someone at the end of the night walk away a little bit richer.
A little bit.
A little bit.
$20,000 is not a little bit.
Yeah, well, thankfully we've grown that prize pool this year. We've been able to push that boundary as well.
Boy, howdy.
Yeah.
Do you have any predictions for this year?
I think we touched on it a little bit.
We did.
You know, I would always love to see new faces. You know, Bill Holke last year, he had such a great showing. I was really rooting for him throughout the tournament.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him come back. You know, we always seem to have a new player that ends up in like top 4, top 8.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's just amazing. I would love to see, you know, an Aussie or a lady or an Australian lady, you know, hit that top 4 spot.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
All right.
Before we move on to
The speed round? Absolutely.
Callum's speed round, I did get notification from Jess that we actually have some questions coming from the chat, so let's throw it over to her.
Jess, what do you have for us?
I had to restart the chat room.
Oh, okay. Well,
Oh no.
that's okay.
You saw them. You saw them.
Yep, I've actually got them up here. So, Joe, I will handle that for you. Jess, thanks for the heads up. Quick question from Mark Santander over in Australia. He wants to know, how is rank play calculated?
All right, so rank play is a little bit interesting. Originally, just to kind of give some background on rank play, you know, we were just looking for a way to kind of match players for our instant tournaments. We were tired of kind of seeing all of our pros eat all of our novice new players, and just, you know, we wanted to create more opportunities for money, not less. So we now have our masters, our sportsmen, and, you know, our novice ranks.
Shooters.
Shooters.
That's
so we now have kind of 3 pools of players that can compete for money and win money and make, hopefully a decent living at it.
Yeah.
So the ranked play itself, we look at the past 12 weeks of ranked play only. So if you're playing the tournament, that's not going to contribute to the ranked play rating. So your rating ends up looking at your averages and your maxes as far as score, accuracy, bucks killed, trophies killed, perfect streaks, perfect sights. All that is used for tiebreakers and this kind of behind the scenes calculation of what your rating is.
So it's quite literally everything that you do in ranked play.
Yeah, primarily it's going to be every animal. So every single animal adventure that you play, all 8 animals next year. Right now it'll be 7. Gemsbach won't release until April of next year. So if you're playing every single animal, your best score is what you're looking for. So you want to be consistent every week playing every animal. And if you do that, if you score well, then you're going to see your rank move up.
Okay.
I'm not really going to give away all the little secrets of how it works.
That's perfectly fair. Now, we've got one more question. I think I already know the answer to this, but you might be able to shed a little more light. Andrew Moskowitz has asked, will we be able to do showdowns against other countries?
At the moment, unfortunately, no.
All
So behind the scenes, our countries are divided up onto different databases, different game servers. So unfortunately, when you're connecting on a U.S. game, you're going to one database, and the Aussies are going to another.
And then one last question before we wrap it up. And you're welcome, Mark Santander. And Joe, Mark says thank you for the answer. One last question we have. Why do rankings update weekly rather than on the fly? And that's going to wrap up.
So this was kind of another part of the pooling of players. So we didn't want to update, on the fly every play because you would potentially see that rank, that kind of position shift a little too frequently. We wanted to give it some breathing room to kind of be digestible
And stabilize,
and
right?
stabilize. So you get to see your weekly rank, where you're sitting, and it gives us kind of a good window. 12 weeks, 3 months worth of play. You kind of see like a season evolve in that.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, we're going to end this interview with a quick speed round. We're going to do our buckshot of the week, take a look at our sponsor zone, and then we are going to play some shootouts. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. Now, guys at home, these are not rehearsed, so whatever Joe says, be
Let's
ready
get to know him.
bring out the pitchforks. Ready?
All right, let's do it.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Flight or invisibility?
Invisibility.
Star Wars or Harry Potter?
Star Wars.
Beer or liquor?
Beer.
Pizza or Chinese?
Pizza.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Cake or pie?
Cake.
Ooh, cake. Ugh.
Controversial.
Yeah. Orange or green?
Green.
Shootout or showdown?
Shootout.
Jameson or Fireball?
Jameson.
Hunting or golf?
Hunting.
Right
Safari.
answer.
Good. Yeah, smart. Good man. Safari or Pro?
Safari.
8-bit or HD?
Let's go classic 8-bit.
8-bit. And there you
My
have it.
generation.
There you have it, guys. The interview with Joe Seawick. Thank you so much for joining us for that. Now, Jess, why don't you take it away with the buckshot of the week?
Yeah, our buckshot of the week was actually provided to us by Christina Eddy, and it's one of her really good friends, Lori, who she just got started to play Big Buck Hunter. And Christina had a good little tip for when you're introducing new people to Big Buck Hunter. You should start with bonus rounds.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's a
okay.
good call.
Well,
Yeah.
Mike, we should start you with bonus rounds.
Oh. Shots fired?
Pew, 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 pew. All right, anyway, sorry about that, Mike. You know I love you. But let's send it over to the sponsor zone. Let's show some love to who's keeping the lights on today. And that is actually Play Mechanix. So conveniently, the lights are on for all of us. Now, the studio that brought you the Big Buck franchise, MotoGP, Kung Fu Panda, and Terminator Salvation, and of course, Buckin Around and us here right now. Founded
so
in-
many more games.
and countless more.
Yeah.
Now, founded in 1995 by George Petro, the studio has since been dedicated to creating fun, innovative, and awesome games for players of really all ages.
That's right, yeah. So look for the wrench in the yellow square at a bar, arcade, or barcade near you.
That's right, and if you're interested in sponsoring a future episode, reach out to us at sponsorship@playmechanics.com. You can have Mike and I do some ridiculously silly stuff, send a message to a friend or loved one, or promote your own personal workspace, really whatever you want to do. Just let us know. Again, that's sponsorship@playmechanics.com. Now, if you don't mind, I've taken Mike down a couple times in shootout.
I don't want to talk about it.
I'm not too confident I can do the same to Joe, but nonetheless, we'll find out.
I'm pretty rusty.
All right, let's send it over to the reaction cam.
I
Joe,
did lose to Logan.
we're going on. Now, do you want orange or green gun?
Green.
Your choice.
No, you pick. I'll pick the animal. I feel like that's really the only solace I can take in
It's
this.
the only solace you can take. Huh? All right.
We're doing orange?
We'll get this going.
All right.
You want me to shoot righty or lefty?
Oh, you're going to make me feel that bad about it? No, we're going to be getting the game over to the reaction cam. Are we good to go, Mike?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to restart the reaction cam, but don't worry about it. I'm going to push the game full screen.
All right, so we're just going to get started then, Joe. Oh, man, all right, so I'm going to pick animal, yeah?
Sure.
Let's do...
Or are you sending us?
what's your worst animal?
Probably whitetail and kudu.
I was
mean,
thinking-
they tend to be the worst for everybody.
I was
so.
thinking whitetail was the way to go. Of all the
Yeah.
animals, I was thinking, you know what? Whitetail's the most sporadic. All right. Now,
Those bighorn sheep are pretty sporadic too.
before we start, cheers.
Absolutely.
I'm eager to... Oh, my trick worked! It worked!
Got me drinking.
Oh, the long one. I'm gonna take pride in that little... I had him drinking during the start of the trek, so... Or the start of the
Smart way to
side.
play.
It's a 500-point lead, but you know what? I'll take it.
There's only 3 more sites.
It's, you know, yeah. Don't cave under pressure, Joe. I say that, and I'm gonna dough out every
Just
side,
dough
I
out, pal.
guarantee it.
Dough out.
Oh, nice shot. So 3 and 3, but I think you got the long ones, didn't you?
Don't think it's gonna make up 500.
Oh, pretty close. Could be worse. Oh, 40-point difference. I'm not okay with that. Oh, that was a good one. Oh, I almost. Oh, come on! No! Yes!
Oh no!
Yes!
Tragedy.
Yes! Yes! Sorry, I don't mean to.
You're just too good at this game, Cal.
No, calm down. You don't need to inflate my ego anymore, Joe. That one in the back, though, that was close. That was like one of those. All right, going in with the dangerous trophy. Oh, no!
That's
Oh, no!
terrible. Terrible play.
Oh, man. Pretty dismal performance. I think you can still take it in the bonus. We got the multiplayer in there, right?
This is
True. That's a pretty
I'm being
insurmountable
really
lead.
careful about what I'm saying right now because I know the kind of player that Joe is.
This is not a great performance.
I'm confident this may or may not be a fluke.
It could be.
This is what sitting behind a desk gets you.
Every time he jumps out. Every time he moves, I shoot him.
Shoot the dog down. He's worth bonus.
Just focus on the dog, please. Oh, you crushed me on that. I'm glad I slipped away with it early because I don't think I would have done so otherwise. But not bad though. That's pretty close. 700 is not
Yeah,
bad.
for a
Let's-
couple dough outs.
Let's jump back. Throw your gun up. Let's
All right.
jump back. Take your stool. We'll wrap up. You know what? That really wasn't that. 700 points is.
Yeah, for 2 dough outs, I'll take it.
Yeah, that makes me
I'll
feel
take
horrible. Is the fact that I doed out once.
Yeah.
You know,
I think.
twice.
Did I doe out once or twice?
Once.
I doed out once. You doed out
Yeah.
twice, and you only lost by 700. We're gonna have to rematch. I'm not too pleased by really either of our performances, but nonetheless, guys,
No.
that was the show today. Do us a favor, show some love on all of our social medias wrapped up down below.
Do it.
In that lower third, hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, really whatever you want.
Yeah.
Of course, the show is going to be live again next week, Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard. Give me 1 second. Let me just kill the audio to this. There we go.
Much better. There we go.
Yeah, sorry about that. But anyway, as I said, guys, that's going to do it for this week. Before we end the show, I do have some sobering news, some bad news. I'm very unfortunate enough to be able to want to deliver this to you guys. We have lost a member of the big buck hunter community and family. Recently, tough to say, actually. This is hard.
Yeah,
we lost the life of Jeff Denton, who was one of our community members, but also our wild card leader, looking to compete at this year's World Championship. Play Mechanix, Buckin around, the cast and crew, everyone here at the studio, send our deepest condolences and sympathies with the family. We wish you all the best in this trying time with your family. If I'm not mistaken, we actually have the GoFundMe page to support their family on the screen right now, guys. We're going to leave that up after the show for a few minutes, and we'll also be sending out a heartfelt message on all of our social media channels. So if you are interested in contributing to the Denton family, just take a look, follow the link in the picture below, or check our social medias for more information.
Yeah, the big buck community is it's unique in the fact that these are people that care very much about each other and connect on a pretty deep level, despite not seeing each other most of the year or at all. So I know that our community is gonna do what they can to send their thoughts out to the Denton family. We certainly appreciate that, and like Callum said, the link for the GoFundMe for helping Jeff Denton's family is up on the screen now. So it's news that we hope to never have to bring you guys, but unfortunately that's the case today.
That's right. So Jeff Denton, to the family, to the friends, and of course the buck hunter community, we are sincerely sorry for your loss. We wish you all the best. Again, all of the information will be on our social medias in order to donate and support their family in any way possible. From the cast and crew of Buckin' Around, we wish you the best and have a good night, guys. Thank you.
Good night.